know that my son wanted to meet with me in her office, and I found out that day that my husband had been abusing my son. Our lives were flipped upside down, and in the next few days, it was just a blur of trips to the police station, the child advocacy center, lawyers' offices, courthouse for orders of protection, and more. We were at the lowest point of our lives, and God started working miracle after miracle for us. God made a way where we could see no way. Some examples are the superintendent of our schools, who was also our good friend at the time, went to every school to let them know what had happened, and people took up offerings, collections of cash. Then that paid for our house payment that month. One school even went together and made Easter baskets for my kids, because as you know, Easter's right around the corner. One school arranged a little bowling fundraiser for us. And then I also sold my wedding ring, and it was 1 month's house payment. So God was just lining up time after time to take care of us. All the teachers at my school came over to our house and helped us get it all ready to sell, packing up everything, working in the yard, getting everything ready to be listed. And on the first day that it was for sale, someone came and made an offer at 9 a.m., so that was definitely a God thing. I was able to close on our old house on the same day that we closed on our new house. So again, all my friends from school and church, they came, they loaded up the moving truck on the Friday night. We closed in the morning, and then someone drove the moving truck to our new house. And then the teams all just went to work unpacking and setting up the furniture. And one of the school principals was even outside mowing the yard and meeting the neighbors while we were still unpacking. And then people just sent so many messages of encouragement. I didn't even want to leave the house because this was on the St. Louis News and all the newspapers. It was a pretty large event, just because he had also been a teacher in a different district, and we found out that several kids were involved, not just mine. It ended up being the largest case Madison County had ever seen up till that point. I don't know if anyone else has. But people would just send so many messages of encouragements, and it kept me going. One Sunday I didn't even want to go to church, and then my Sunday school class called me and said, if you're not coming to church, we're coming to your house. So they were not going to let me just give up and stay. And the church even held a special service for our family on a weekday afternoon, and the church was completely full of people coming to support us and looking at the ending of what had been and a new beginning for our family. The youth group, they were all wonderful for my kids, and Davis liked wearing the hats. What are those, knit hats? I don't know. And Madeline at that age thought mustaches were cool, so at the next youth group, they all had on hats and mustaches. But at that time, I had said, there's no way I will ever get married again, which my mom reminded me of from time to time, and that I would never trust anyone again. And then Ed sent me a friend request, and he came in right in the middle of this whole mess, because it took 2 years from when we found out to when the court case finally happened. But he just came on in, and his words and prayers really helped heal my heart. And at first, when I would go to a wedding that he was doing as his date, as the bride would be walking down the aisle, I wanted to yell, "Don't do it, you're making a huge mistake." But I thought that they would frown on that coming from the pastor's wife, so I tried not to. And as you all know, my attitude about weddings are much more positive now, and if anyone needs to see more wedding pictures from Madeline's wedding, I can show you. But because God really worked on my heart, and he would not stop with the message of forgiving. I did not think there was any way possible to forgive what had happened, especially because it didn't happen to me, it happened to my son. But one day, I was praying with a friend, and she prayed for me to forgive him. And then she asked me, "Do you believe it?" And I said that I wanted to. And so then she was tough love with me and said, "Then you need to pray the words." And so I prayed it, and instantly I walked away. My arms were just shaking, and I felt a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders, that God was making a way for our new life right then. And so then after the sermon on Sunday, that's why I've kind of felt like God was maybe leading me to tell the story, because a big message for us was that a resurrection life doesn't have to wait until heaven. And I'm afraid I'm going to say what we said in the video, but that it could be right now, that your new life can begin now, and that God has great things in store for you. And as we know, God is good all the time. So we debated about if you've seen this video. I remember we tried to show it from our kitchen counter on a Zoom, and the sound did not play. He thinks maybe we showed it here. I don't know. But so if you've seen it before, forgive us. But this was a video we would go to, well, and we still do, go to the River Church in Alton on Saturday nights. And that was really a place that brought a lot of the healing for me, because there was a freedom class, and I thought, well, I don't need freedom from anything. I'm fine, but I'll go because I like the teacher. And so that really came to me of, you have to, forgive and move on. And so they asked us to make this video for their Easter service a few years ago, and so that's why we wanted to share it tonight. Our family went through a very painful time. It's something horrible that I hope no one ever has to go through. It involved evil, abuse, a very public trial, and the struggle of rebuilding our family when everyone had a very different viewpoint of what happened and was dealing with it in different ways. I was the mom left when the dad went to prison, that had to help all three kids to make it through and try to rebuild and move on when we had to find a new house, and just everything was starting over for us.
I was a minister in Springfield, Illinois from 1995 till about 2011, and married for 23 years. And to make a long story short, it just came crashing down with divorce. And if you've ever been through a divorce, there's so many emotions that go with that. It's rejection, anger, confusion, guilt, shame, and you wrestle with that. And it's tough when you have a house full of kids and a family, and then you turn around and it's just you and the dog. But I certainly didn't have confidence in myself, because I was that guy now, the divorced pastor. And in my mind, I'd already kind of written off ministry. And, when you go through a divorce, you hope to find a future again, but you're also kind of wrestling, if there's, what's wrong with me? Maybe I'll never, maybe I'm not the kind of person to have a relationship like this.
A few years after was when we came to the river. And when we first came, it just felt like a great fit for our family. But I didn't want everybody to know me as that person who went through this horrible thing. So I didn't share my story. And then time after time, someone would say something either in a sermon, in the small group discussion, or even one-on-one conversations. It would make me think, do they know what happened? Did somebody tell them something about us that they knew to say just that perfect thing for what we were going through? And it was all God. God was working in amazing ways.
There was a day where all I say is this. It was very clear, just with circumstances and just God telling me, it is time for you just to move on, to move ahead. And so it's like, okay, so what do you do? So I got on Facebook. I sounded like a teenager or something. So I kind of started scrolling through. And our mutual friend, Jen Weber, she, you know how they have different little feeds there. She posted a group of her friends, and I recognized one person. It was Denise Davis. We had like one date back in high school. And I thought, oh, wow, she looks great. I haven't talked to her in a long time. I should send her a friend request, which I never really do. So I sent her a friend request, and I thought, ooh, does that look creepy? So I started finding a bunch of other people and sent them friend requests too, only to be reminded I don't think she could necessarily see that, but I didn't want to seem weird.
Our very first date in high school, an only date in high school, I guess I should say, was going to the Bethalto Homecoming Carnival.
Right.
So when he proposed, he took me to the side of the carnival, in the gazebo in Bethalto, and he had flowers hidden and a card, and we danced to our favorite song, and then he took me on the path through the Arboretum, and he had gone out that morning and hidden scriptures all along the path. So we'd walk along and read the different scriptures that went with our relationship. And then we went to Litchfield, which was our halfway meeting point for the first date. And so at the point of our second first date ever, and he got down on one knee and proposed. And so I was able at that point to say yes without hesitation. Easter 2019, Pastor Mark told a story about the resurrection life being for us here right now. That it wasn't just something that happened after you die, you go to heaven, that you can have this whole new life on earth right now as long as you let God work that in your life, that He will rebuild, He will restore, He can make things beautiful again and even better than it ever was. So where he talked about your life being in ruins, and that really hit for us, that we were in such a low place. I would have never imagined being able to get to where we are now. I remember sitting in church watching little old couples holding hands thinking, I'll never have that, that's not going to happen for me. But God had a different plan. Through that message, God was doing something brand new and beautiful and better than we imagined.
That's the Easter message when I'm getting all preachery now. That's what I do. but that's the Easter message, when you think this is the end of the story. This is it. It's over. It's done. God's like, what do you know? I'm still writing. I'm still going. You have no idea sometimes what He's even going to do. And I'm glad it was you.
Yay. Good answer.
I never would have thought it would have been you. But it was.
Rising from the ashes deep inside.
God can create a new pathway or repair an old one. He is the God of second chances, third, fourth, and 1,000th chances. That it's really never too little, it's never too late. When Jesus is involved, never say never.
Built on streets of gold.
We've not seen that one, so I can't remember. We've had it. It's a good story. And Denise just felt led. This was a rough day 11 years ago. For a minute, I thought I was 10. But 11 years ago when she first kind of found that out, and we kind of talked beforehand, and there's a lot of stuff we could have shared about the awful stuff, and we decided, we'll just share a little bit about the awful stuff and just get right to all the things that God did to send different people in her path to help, to take care of things, and glad I was a part of that just a little year or so later. But God just provided everything for her and her family, and as you guys know, we just did have a beautiful wedding for a little girl who hasn't really been able to see her dad since 11 years ago, and had to kind of live and grow up understanding all the things that happened. And so God's blessed our family in a great way, And I think it was just kind of from that message a little bit too, just from Lazarus, when he said, your brother will rise again, Martha. Oh, I know, he'll rise again on the resurrection. No. Today, he will. And the past, the future met the present, on that day with the resurrection power of Jesus. And things aren't always perfect right now. Are there things that our family still has to deal with? Yeah. I mean, there are things that Denise and our family will have to deal with this side of heaven until we get there. It's not perfect. It's not, but boy, it's a long way from where it was, and it's a long way from where it could have been, thanks to the grace of God. So we're not saying that everything is just going to be perfect every single moment, every single time. But we are saying that God can begin to do things with second chances, with hope when it all seems hopeless, just right here in the present. And just every day God made himself known to Denise and just the different people, different ways. It's a good reminder for us as the church. Even long before I came along, the church went with her to tell her kids what had happened. The church came over and helped move her into the house we live in now. The church came over and made sure the lawn was mowed every week for the first few weeks. The church was there, that she was a part of at that time. Just every step of the way. So sometimes we're the people that God can use to show, hey, God's here. We're here because God sent us, and God is here. God's working. God cares. Just the ever important power of being the church. So just wanted to send that message as encouragement tonight, because it's nice to be able to look at the anniversary of something like that and go, you know what? Look and see what all God's done from one of the worst days of my life 11 years ago. Look where. So hopefully no one's having the worst day of their life today. Hopefully that's not you. If it is, talk to us, okay? Talk to me, because we definitely want to put the church in action for you. But there's always something going on, even if it's not your worst day. There's always things going on, and hopefully, Denise's testimony and our testimony just reminds you, no matter what you're going through, God is present, God is powerful, and God is working. So that's kind of all we have to say about that tonight. We just want to share that with you, Margie. Yeah, any comments or thoughts you guys have on anything? Yeah.
John Kasich, the former governor of Ohio, wonderful Christian man.
Yeah.
And he has just released another book. He has another
Oh.
book that's wrote, and it is along the same line. And it's just amazing how God's made connections. And it's about churches being community-oriented, because there are so many people who have needs that only a church can reach out and cover them with love and wrap their arms around them and so on. And that as churches, we need to start thinking about those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, with all the price and all the stuff that's going on now, with all the prices and everything, people not able to afford food and stuff like that, churches need to step up to the plate, I believe, and make sure that we don't leave people that's gone through what
Mm-hmm.
Denise has gone through, and leave them hanging. Like, well, we don't want to, we don't want to get involved in that. That's a personal matter. We need to get involved. We're the church. We're God's arms and feet and legs and stuff. So, but his book is what I can't. I just it just came today, and I read quite a bit of it already. But
Good. With something to do with heaven meeting earth, kind of same theme. Yeah. And that's what Jesus asked us to pray. Lord, your will be done here as it is in heaven. Yeah.
The whole book, every chapter is of a different person he had personal contact with, that they had, how their church had brought about situations that could be resolved by the church, that help and love and just being there for people. And it's just very uplifting. And that story might get that.
Wonderful. Okay.
John Kasich,
Yeah.
he's a,
I know who you're talking about. I never knew he was a big Christian. That's great.
yes, he is.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
He's not public.
He's not governor anymore?
No, he's not.
Okay. Okay. I know, I can picture him. Yeah, I can picture him. Yeah. Any other thoughts, comments? We can jump right to prayer if you need to. I got a couple other announcements. It's a little different night tonight. All right, well, hopefully everybody online got a chance to see that. And we've got some ideas maybe to get that fixed once and for all now that I'm coming up on spring break next week. So maybe we can get that looked at, taken care of. So I'll let everybody online go. Thanks for sharing that little devotion with us tonight. And I think Sunday is Palm Sunday. So that's always a great day, full of a lot of different surprises. So it's a regular time for Palm Sunday, regular time for Easter. Okay, we're going to have separate services on both those days coming up. So, okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you. All right.